Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. Hey ladies, how are you doing this afternoon? Happy Monday. I hope your week is off to a good start. It is super hot where I'm at. It is like close to 94 degrees. It's been that way for a couple days and honestly, I'm loving it. I I feel like summer, even though summer officially started like a couple days ago, I feel like we did not get much of a spring because it was freezing. And so now that we're getting this hot weather, I'm like super stoked. And I hope that we get many more warm days because where I live, we don't really get that much of a summer. So when we do get summer, like it's great. And then the rest of the year, it's like fall and then winter. So I love this. Hey May, thank you for joining. Hi Rose. Hi Melody. Hi Princess. And yes, Melody, you're going to get the opportunity to chime in. We're just going to be hanging out today. And hey, gosh, we're just going to be hanging out today, talking about content, some gossip if you want to gossip. No, I'm kidding. No gossip. And yeah, anything else that you guys want to ask about, feel free. Like, it's just a super chill hangout today. Not going to be on here for too long because I do need to step out and run some errands, but I thought I would just come in. And first of all, thank you all for 10,000 subscribers. I started this channel last year in May 2024. And to think that I am now at just over 10,300 subscribers in over a year is crazy. So thank you so much for your support. Every like, comment, and share is greatly appreciated. Thank you to my members for supporting as well. If you want to be a part of the membership, I'm going to drop the link in the comments here. And I'll also drop it in the playback for people who are listening in case StreamYard doesn't transfer over the link to YouTube. I know that StreamYard did some changes recently, so hopefully they won't mess anything up. But yeah, how are you guys doing? Any questions that you want me to address? First things first, though, while you guys are doing that, I wanted to address some of the men that come into my videos. I know that I do have male supporters who come in and they like and comment and share with their loved ones, and they kind of silently observe. So shout out to you guys and thank you for your support. But I did notice, especially on my recent video where I spoke about my experience with Black female managers, there were a handful of Black men, particularly, that came into the comments and were like, oh, yeah, Black women ain't shit. And yeah, my experience with them was terrible too. And it's like, the intention of that video was not to bash Black women while elevating Black men. The purpose of that video was to hold Black women accountable based on my lived experience. So anything that I mention on this channel as it pertains to Black women, it very, very likely applies to Black men and probably more so than Black women, just based on these statistics. Okay, so it's not an invitation for Black men to feel confident to come in the space and be like, yeah, like down with Black women. Because if you are familiar with my content, you know that I have made multiple videos addressing the issues that are prevalent specifically to Black men, the lack of building up their community, the high crime rates, the lack of education, and things like that. And that's fine. If you are not ambitious and you don't want to build for your community, I guess that's your choice. But don't come in here and lambast Black women who are actually doing something for themselves, because this conversation is not for you. This conversation is for women who are looking, Black women particularly, who are looking to make a better life for themselves. And then unfortunately, we have to experience hardship with other Black women. Does that make sense? Okay, so Black men, like, you're not off the hook either. Like, we can very easily look up the stats as it pertains to your demographic, and that's the end of the conversation there. This is not a pick me pro Black male channel, if you haven't noticed by now. This is a channel that centers Black women, particularly Black women who look like me, ambiguous Black women, monoracial ambiguous Black women, biracial, whatever, women who identify as Black, who want to level up, and anyone else who aligns with that messaging. This is a public platform, so I will never drive away supporters and allies, but it's certainly not for Black men to come in and think that I'm going to be like, yeah, Black men, we agree with what you're saying, because no. Okay, I hope we're clear on that. Hey, Mariah, thank you for coming in. I also wanted to address the topic of war, because I did speak about that maybe last year in another live concerning people being drafted for an impending war. And with this administration, without getting too political, as I've said in previous videos, you can believe whatever the hell you want. I think that you should always look at a party's platform and see how it benefits you, especially if that party gets elected and you may not agree, or you may agree, whatever you think. It is best for you to find a way to benefit in any situation that you're in from that party's platform. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit harder for Black women with this administration, because only 8% of Black women, 8%, right? Only 8% of Black women voted for Trump, which again is your choice. You know, you have the freedom to vote however you want. But then Black women kind of loudly have been showing their disdain for Donald Trump for various reasons. And again, you can think whatever you want. This is not a dictatorship. I'm not going to tell you how to think when it comes to politics, but I do tell my listeners to be smart with how you behave, especially in public. And so if you're very publicly and very crassly saying that you do not agree with a certain administration, which is your democratic right, I guess. It's your right. We live in a democracy. You can disagree and criticize the government. We don't live in China, for example. But don't be surprised when that administration is not inclined to do things to favor you, because you've already demonstrated that you're not their supporters. You are not the ones who are responsible in getting them into office. And so they're not going to do anything to try to secure your vote the next time around, because you already showed them that I didn't vote for you. So I need Black women to stop doing that. Like, stop. Please don't go to any protests and put yourself out there. Number one, it's not safe. people are getting increasingly more and more violent. But also, it's just simply not smart. Like, you don't know who you're going to see there. And even if you don't see anyone who you know in a decision making position, like an employer, for example, people are looking and talking about these things behind the scenes. There are a lot of private groups, just as how Black women have private groups. White folks, for example, have private groups where they talk about things that are happening in the community, and Black women are one of these topics. So it would behoove you to move in silence and keep your head down and just work, especially now with an impending war. We don't know what's going to happen. An impending recession. We don't know what's going to happen with that. It hasn't been called officially, but anyone who's paying attention can tell that there are tough times coming up financially. So, right now, it's about strategy over your feelings and your emotions. Okay. As I've said in a number of videos and lives, corporations are reshifting their resources and their priorities to focus on keeping the organization afloat over trying to appeal to the masses so that the masses could like them. And that is evident in them getting rid of DEI. That is evident in layoffs. And also in a number of pride organizations around North America, we're starting to see them also lose their funding um, for their events. So you need to make sure that, number one, you're keeping your job if you can, because people are getting laid off. I've also shared a video on how to predict if your company will experience a layoff. Let me go and look for that link so I can drop it in the comments. And so if you feel as if your company is going to lay people off, then you need to have a game plan. It doesn't mean that you should be alarmed, because honestly, like, if you are meant to be laid off, like if that company is going to lay you off, there's really nothing that you can do about it. And being bummed about it and depressed about it is not going to improve or change the situation. Hey, Exoticals United, thank you so much for 10K. Everybody who is on this live, I'm pretty sure that you know of Exoticals United, but if you have not come across her content, please go ahead and check out her channel. Her channel is like mine, but like times 10. She does a really, really good job at deep diving on the psychology of biracial, Black, monoracial women. And so I highly encourage you to go and check out her stuff if you want more in-depth content. She is the greatest. She has honestly supported me, a small YouTuber, in getting to where I am at. And this is an example of true sisterhood. So go ahead and check out her content. But yeah, when it comes to layoffs, sometimes there's really nothing that you can do. Sometimes it is inevitable. And so rather than being bummed about it and allowing it to impact your mental health, you just need to have a game plan. So I've outlined in that video how to navigate this. You can go ahead and check it out. Once I find it, I will drop it in the comments, and you can position your game plan that way. Let me look at some comments here. Yes, Exoticals United is the unhinged version in a good way. We need people who are like vocal and not afraid to say whatever. She's also very articulate in how she says things. So if you like classy reads and classy shade, you can learn from that's one of the things that attracted me to EU, was her ability to read people with facts. And I'm like, yep, I need to tap into that some more, so that when people try me, I can know how to respond accordingly. Melody says, are you saying that Black women shouldn't speak out against things that affect them? What happened to freedom of speech? I absolutely did not say that. And I think that my channel is evidence of that. I speak out against things all the time, but I think that Black women need to learn how to be more strategic and less emotional. And a lot of times I see Black women being emotional in their approach. And that shows up in like protesting and being loud and doing things. And then when you look back, there's really no outcome. What did you actually achieve to advance your cause? And more importantly, to benefit you specifically? In this economy, Black women should be looking out for themselves and anyone really. If you want to survive, you need to find a way to preserve yourself. You need to find a way to be able to ride the wave, so to speak, because a lot of people, again, are losing their jobs, losing their houses, and you really cannot afford to be emotional in the name of speaking up for yourself, quote unquote. Please name me a time when Black women spoke out about something, especially something that didn't directly impact them, where it turned into something that benefited Black women specifically. Please let me know in the comments and I can respond to that. And to that point, I do notice that Black women like to hop on to other people's issues. And number one, other people are not doing that for you. Yes, Black women do have allies, but those allies tend to support you in a way that actually matters, that doesn't involve them being loud and aggressive and obnoxious about things, hoping that they're going to get a different outcome. And I think that Black women need to do the same thing. And number one, mind your own business and put that energy into preserving yourself. That's literally evolution. If you cannot find a way to evolve with the times and take care of yourself, natural selection will take care of you. And unfortunately, you will not survive. And we're starting to see an increasing amount of Black women lose their jobs, sometimes arbitrarily, and they wonder, well, how come I lost my job? Sometimes it's something that you did specifically that your employer found out about, but they're not going to tell you. And sometimes it's there's too many of you guys up in this space and we need to get rid of you because we want to make sure that our company is able to ride the storms. And you could say, well, that's racism, that's unfair. Sure. But when you are someone in a position of power and when you are someone who lives in a state or a country or wherever where you can fire someone without cause, people will exercise their rights and their powers to do that. And so, again, you need to find a way to preserve yourself so that you can continue to live a comfortable life and be able to pay your bills. Yeah, it is every Black woman for themselves. Literally. And that's the whole point of this channel, is to educate people. And when I say educate, I'm talking about from my point of view, based on my experiences and the studies that I've done myself. I always tell my listeners to do your own research on anything that I say or anything that you hear anybody say on the internet so that you can form your own informed opinion. That is literally one of the ways that you can survive and evolve, is when you are able to deduce and make your own inferences based on facts and evidence that's presented before you. So that is the purpose of this channel. And I hope that I'm doing a good job in helping you guys understand and be able to do that. Hi, Princess. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Hi, Swirler Pretty Exoticals. Thank you. Ilonga, thank you for the congratulations. Totally. Guys, give me 1 second. Okay, I am back. So, how are you guys feeling about everything that's going on? Any questions in general that you have for me, I will do my best to address them. I'm just looking through the comments, making sure I didn't miss anything. Are you guys watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta? How do you feel about this season? Honestly, I feel like they need to bring back Nene. They brought back Phaedra, but and they need to find a way to rejig that entire franchise because I don't know what's going on. And I made a video about Kenya and Britt. And I do agree that Kenya was wrong in handling the situation that she did. But I also said that Britt was definitely like an antagonist. And she's a type of person, and from what I've heard in like spaces in ATL, is that she's a type of person to kind of situate herself in a position where she can kind of be an opportunist and then try to find a way to get money from that. People say that she's like phony. And now we're kind of seeing that with her suing Bravo like months after. I guess things didn't work out for her. Maybe Bravo told her, like, yeah, thanks, but we're not inviting you back um, to next season. And so now she's like, well, I'm going to get this bag by any means necessary. And so now I'm going to sue you for 20 million. I don't know if she's going to get 20 million. But also apparently Bravo wants to maybe cancel this franchise. So maybe they say that hit dogs holler. So who knows? But yeah, I think it was definitely a mistake to cast Brit, but it seems like they've been desperate for some time. The past couple of seasons have been so weak. It seems like they've been trying to rejig it, but like I don't know, they need to bring something back. They need to get back to the times when it was Candy, Phaedra, Nene, Portia, like the OG cast, Cynthia, and like it just seemed like more authentic and just more effortless. Like that was peak Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like it was one of the top Housewives franchise, and they need to really bring it back to that. Melody, there's really no need to apologize. Like, again, that's the whole point of my channel, to offer my perspective, and I welcome differing opinions. That's literally what makes discourse and makes things stronger and better. So yeah, there's really no hard feelings. Oh, Mariah asked, how can I level up as a college student with everything going on and secure my bag after graduation? Mariah, what are you studying in college? I would ask that. I'd want to know that first. But while you're typing your answer, because it sounds like you're already in college, I would just try to find a way to get a job now that's in the field that you are interested in. And if that's not possible, I would maybe tap into your hobbies and try to make money that way. So whether that's through a YouTube channel, a podcast, modeling, acting, like for example, if you live in a big city, you can literally earn money as a background actor. Um, Especially cities where like the Tyler Perry studio is, where Tyler Perry, where the new 50 Cent studio is, or just living in New York City, or if you're close enough in driving distance, and they will pay you to literally sit around and be in the background. It's like super easy. Like you can look on Facebook, they have groups where some of the casting directors will cast some of the roles that they're looking for. I've seen people cast for, there's some production. I'm not sure if it's here or in Canada, but there's a production for Muhammad Ali's story. I think it's called Greater or The Greatest. I've also seen one for some movie that's coming up with Marvel, I think, where you don't even have to audition for some of these roles. You just literally stand around and you fill the space. And For some other roles, if it's in demand, they will literally pay you hundreds of dollars for a day, or sometimes at the very least, they'll pay you minimum wage. But it's a great way to like get some money if that's what you're looking for in the interim and keep you busy and allow you to network. But when it comes down to it, and the reason why I asked about your the program that you're studying is because that'll literally make or break what you are looking to, like, your earning potential essentially. Um, you're graduating in 2027, so I mean, depending on like what you want to do, you can change or add a major if you would like to. But I always say to women who are getting into college or university, or you're just starting out, you should always get into STEM if you can. That is a very in demand program, and there's multiple concentrations that you can tap into that can benefit you in your career long term. So STEM and like science, tech, engineering, and mathematics, you can get a job in banking, being a project manager or a scrum master who literally deals with IT deployments of like different software. You can get into software engineering. You can get into law. Like, if you want to have a strong legal application, for those who are listening, the typical poli sci sociology type of majors are not going to make you stand out. But I've heard of law firms specifically recruiting people with an engineering background because of the way that they look at things differently. So if you're currently studying engineering right now and maybe you don't want to do that as a career and you're thinking of other ways to pivot, you could do law. But in a nutshell, the type of program that you study really makes a big difference in your earning potential and securing the bag. As a woman, please do not get into like the typical female type of like role, like female dominated roles, because number one, they're oversaturated, and number two, they tend to have lower earning potential unless like you're going to be specialized. So nursing, for example, nurses, they do have the potential to make good money, and I've heard of quite a few nurses making six figures, but you need to at least be an RN or be willing to be a traveling nurse. Stopping at just like, I think it's called CSN or entry level, PSW, a teacher, like, you're not going to be making any money in those fields. So you need to very quickly find a way to, you need to look at the people who are in your industry and figure out who's making the most money and align with that. If you're not certain, you can get into project management. Project management is a very broad industry. It ranges from like government to banking to tech to like, project managers are needed in any industry, and you can just very quickly and easily get your PMP and find a way to pair that with the skills that you have and market that to employers. But in a nutshell, a way to secure your bag after graduation, again, if you're in a good position right now, I would say network and get to know the people in your industry so that you have a better chance of getting employed. But if you're already in like a low paying field, I would recommend that you get out of that field quickly and find a way to get into a better paying field, preferably in STEM. If you do not have any technical skills, you could be a scrum master. A scrum master is pretty much an IT project manager, where they're like a median between the development team and the business, and making sure that things are deployed and running smoothly. That's a great way to get your foot through the door if you're wanting to be in a technical space but you don't have technical skills per se. But you really should look into getting those technical skills. If you go on Indeed and you just look at some postings where people make like the most amount of money, and a lot of companies are starting, I think they're being mandated by governments to disclose how much they're willing to pay. You can get an idea and you can see like, okay, these are the type of skills that they're asking for. They want me to have coding skills in Python, in SQL, in Java, just very, very basic. And like you can use tools like ChatGPT to teach you, YouTube. There are apps. There's one called Data Camp that I use to practice as well. You can literally use that for free and find a way to upskill that way, because being able to code is almost a requirement, a basic requirement, like your English language skills, because more and more people have that ability. So employers were kind of expecting that. And if you don't have those skills or some other STEM related skill that is the push, then unfortunately you're going to be left behind. But if there are other industries outside of STEM that you guys know of, please drop them down below in the comments, because not everyone is cut out for that, and that's totally fine. But I do suggest having multiple streams of income, and sometimes that means working just odd and end jobs part-time while you're in school to get yourself through it. A lot of schools have work study positions where you can get paid on campus while you work. That's a great way to get paid post-graduation as well, especially if you don't know what you want to do post-graduation. A lot of times that your college or university will hire you back, so you can do that. But again, like using your hobbies, your skills, if you can braid hair, if you can sew and mend clothing, if you can bake, cook, even landscaping, like find some way, see what people are doing on there's like apps called like Fiverr where people post their skills. If you're good at graphic designing, consulting, you can start small with like a local business and say, hey, I was looking at your business. I noticed that you're a startup, and I noticed that there are gaps in these areas. I have this expertise where I can support you to do X, Y, and Z. That's a good way to get a job while you're studying. And who knows what can come out of that post-graduation. Yeah, Kavani, I'm looking at I love Portia too. I'm going back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta topic. I love Portia too, but girl, you are not doing a good job at beating those allegations at all. I think that, but one of the things that I like about Portia is that she is unapologetically herself. She doesn't shy away from what people will say. She'll deny it, but then at the same time, she'll just continue to be herself, and whoever has a problem with it has a problem with it. And I feel like if you're going to survive in this world, you need to have that mentality. Obviously, don't go after people's husband because it's not going to work out well for you, but you need to have an air of unbotheredness and maybe even ditziness in order to survive, and being unapologetic so that you can navigate life with peace. Melody's asking, do you see yourself being a stay-at-home mom? At one point I did. Now not so much, probably because I'm doing well in my career. I'm in mid management and I'm still fairly young in my career, about 7 years in. And so for me, like just the momentum that I'm on, I feel like there's only more space for me to grow. If I do decide to have children, I'm probably going to maybe take some time off, obviously, for mat leave. Any organization that I work for, they need to have a good mat leave policy for me to consider working for them. And then those kids are going to either be with a nanny or daycare or family so that I can go back to my career. Because I just feel like there's only up from here, and I just want to maintain that momentum and keep working. And there's lots of women who are girl bosses, they are corporate baddies, whatever, and they're able to be mothers, but you definitely will need a support system. I know that I will. So yeah, I'm not afraid of getting a night nurse, nanny, whatever, if that time comes around. Orange Blossom says, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do enjoy this season for what it is. I wasn't a fan of seasons 11 through 15 of Atlanta. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Hopefully, this is a time the producers can figure something out with this season and like rejig the story and we can get back to the previous glory days. Hey Huda, thank you for joining. I'm glad that you're able to catch the live. How to make friends to go out with. I don't have anyone to go out with this summer, but also don't want to stay home doing nothing. Honestly, I recommend that you go out by yourself, number one, to build that confidence. Especially if you're looking to date, you are more likely to attract prospects when you're by yourself as opposed to being with a group of girls because nobody wants to approach a group of women and then have the potential of being embarrassed. So I find that people are more open, find more success when they go alone. And you're also able to do whatever you want. Like, you don't have to worry about people's schedules or people's preferences. Like, I don't want to go, I don't want to do this. Like, you don't have to lose out on experiences that you want to do just because your friends don't want to do it. Um, but there are also groups. I think there's a group called Meet. What is it called? Let me Google it. Where you can meet up literally with people based on your interests. So if you like to practice Spanish, for example, there's a group for that. Is it Meetup? It's called Meetup. And they have like literally thousands of social events and groups that stem from like a wide range of interests. So again, like language practice, you can go and meet people who have similar interests to you in speaking Spanish, or if you want to take a cooking class or go hiking or play tennis or golf, like you can meet people and you can form your friendships or alliances based on similar interests. And it's less likely to be toxic because people are coming with the same objective of meeting people the same way that you are. And I've heard of a lot of people finding their significant other, if that's what you're interested in, from that as well. So, yeah, there's also on Facebook, like, I like to use Facebook still because there are so many groups that are niche, very niche and interest based, where you can, like, for example, there was one group that I was a part of for elegance, where we just share tips on how to be more elegant, how to level up. And sometimes they would plan like monthly or bi-monthly meetups and we would just chill out and have a good time. And some of those women I still talk to this day. So you can look and see if something like that exists in your city and you can meet people that way. Any tips for neurotypical women? What specifically do you want to know, Ilonga? But just in general, I would say learn social skills, and this goes for anybody, but learn social skills so that you can be able to successfully understand social cues, social mores, do's and don'ts, so that you can not fit in, but you will have a better time integrating. Because one common hang up that a lot of neurotypical people will express is that they feel as if people are not able to relate to them. And sometimes it just stems from not being able to grasp those social cues. And that's just a skill that anyone should be able to learn based on the setting that you're in. So just observe like etiquette, for example. But also just be confident in who you are. Like being neurotypical is not a deficiency. You literally are able to see the world from differently from what I guess the average quote unquote person is able to see. And so you have a lot of value to offer in any space that you're in. I would just suggest being around people who are open minded because sometimes, especially some cultures, they look down upon people who have different abilities, and that's not your fault, that's their shortcoming. So rather than trying to force yourself to be accepted by these people, hang around people who are open minded. And again, you could probably find a group like that on Meetup where there are other neurotypical women who are congregating together, sharing their experiences, and you never know like what you can find, what you can benefit and gain from that interaction. Thank you, Wednesday, for the congratulations. Ah, okay, Mariah, you're an accounting major. Okay, you are in a very good position, um, career wise. Literally, I would recommend, I'm not sure if your school offers this, but if they don't, this is an opportunity maybe for you to speak to your student society or even start a club where you can file taxes for students on campus. When I was an undergrad, there was some, I think it was like the accounting club or whatever. They did that for students, and that was such a blessing. All I had to do was bring in my tax slips and sit there, and they did it all for me. And you may not, you can charge people for it if you want, like you want to have private clients. But if you do it on campus, I wouldn't recommend charging. You can ask like the student society to give you money. Like if you are a student, you're doing it through a student club and literally pay yourself that way through further labor. But the most important thing that you're getting from that is experience that you can put on your resume. You could say like, yeah, I created this club and I managed it and I filed taxes for 500 students for the fiscal year 2025, and I help students save blah blah blah. And especially if you are doing like a special type of accounting, maybe forensic accounting, you can put that on your resume. You can even just reach out to local clinics. A lot of times they hire students to help people in the community file their taxes and also businesses file their taxes. And so you can sometimes volunteer, but also kind of get like a part-time job to do that. And so you're pretty much studying and working at the same time while also securing the bag that way. But I would find a way to really tap into those skills that you learned in accounting and find a way to make money from that. Like look and see what your peers may be doing. Go on Reddit and see what other accounting students are doing. I love Reddit because like people are candid and they will share a lot of good information. You never know, like maybe there's a form of people finding ways to make money, but I would use your accounting skills for sure. That is like math adjacent and I guess STEM adjacent, and you'll end up doing far better than your peers who maybe studied like poli sci, no shade. You'll end up doing far better than them out of graduation and even while you're in school. Thanks, Orange Blossom, for the congrats. Oh, and you have an Etsy shop for jewelry and you live in, okay, girl, you are set. Like you are on the right path. You are doing more than what the average student does. So keep it up. Just be consistent with your shop. You live in Atlanta, so like that's literally like the financial hub of the South. So maybe start looking again into getting jobs specifically in accounting, even a little part-time job. It's better than nothing. You're building your networking, you're building your skill set on the job, and that could probably lead to a full-time position out of graduation with a large accounting firm. I'm a fashion designer. What would you say about that? I'm looking to start my brand in the next 2 months or less. Princess, honestly, we need fashion designers. People will need clothing to wear for sure. So I would explore that dream, but I would not give up my 9 to 5 for that. Not unless you have some savings and you can find a way to make it big. But reason being is that fashion designing is very competitive and it has a very, very low success rate because it is very competitive. So unless you have a strategy, I don't know, maybe you get a job with an existing fashion house and you're willing to give your designs to them, or you find a way to market your pieces independently. You need to come up with a strategy to find a way to break out and get people to find you and want to purchase your products. So look and see what other designers are doing. There's one company called, is it Grassroots? Let me see. Grassfields. Now, Grassfields, they had like a lot of drama with their brand, so take the meat and spit out the bones. But they were very successful in building their company from the ground up. And it was a team of twin sisters who started off in their home. They hand created their designs. They hired some people to model their clothing for them on Instagram. And now they have close to 1 million followers on Instagram. So it is possible, but just know that it's going to take a lot of time and sacrifice. And you have to decide if you're willing to take that sacrifice and maybe be a starving artist for some time before you make it big, or are you willing to continue your 9 to 5 if you have one and work on the side and build from there? I recommend the latter. Definitely don't give up on your dream, because again, like, people like fashion, people like clothing, and they will buy your stuff, but you need to make it marketable. You need to make it a product that people will want to buy and will want to tell their friends and family, so that you have, number one, return customers, but number two, you have people referring and your business growing that way. And also have a business plan if you don't have one by now. But the easiest way to do that is to study what other people have done and literally copy it. So look at grassroots, literally companies like Grassfields and others. If any of you know of any other smaller brands that made it big, please drop it in the comments and help our sister out. Moonpie says, try to get an internship into one of the big fours. If they like you, they will hire. Yep, they will hire you on the spot and even pay for your MBA. Yes, absolutely. If you can get into a big organization, whether in accounting or any field, they will pay for your. They will pay to help you get your professional designations, your master's degree, whatever. But you need to find a way to set yourself apart, because again, those roles are very, very competitive. So again, like, back to the idea of starting an organization on campus that maybe was never done before will pique their attention and position you against the competition. Gosh, what do you want me to spell so that I can type it in the chat? I want a well-paying job, but I can't do math. I have a slow processing time. Any tips for a job? I would find other jobs that are in demand in your area. And yes, gosh, Scrum Master, you got that spelling correct. Thanks, Kevin, for chiming in as well. I'm sorry guys that there's such a long delay in the comments. It's really going by so fast. So thank you guys for supporting and helping. There's also a lag, but I would look on Indeed and see what top jobs are coming up in your area and see how your skills align. And if you don't have any skills that align with anything, then you need to find a way to get those skills. You need to find a way to get those skills, whether it's being a consultant, whether it's, I don't know, some people make it big as private tutors. Like, find something that you can do and become very, very good at it and offer value in a way that no one else can offer, so that you can make money that way. Not everyone's making money in STEM. A lot of people make money in sales. So if you're good at persuading people to do things, maybe get into sales. Real estate is a very, very easy way to do that. You literally take a course, I think, like in less than a year. You write the exam in a weekend and like boom, you're a real estate agent. And brokerages, like you don't have to apply to sign up with a brokerage. They will recruit you because they want your commission. And I've heard of people making six-figure salaries from that. You just have to find what you can do, be good at it, and be consistent with it. I think, to your point, Portia is a gorgeous girl. She is smart, but the men she has dated play in her face, in my opinion. She should try dating out privately. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that Portia is still very male identified and she's still very Black community centered. So I really don't see her doing that. And it breaks my heart because it's like she's a grown woman. She can make her own decisions, whatever. But like she has a young daughter watching her and she doesn't realize that her daughter will probably pick up on those cues and the cues of her father as well, because her father is also a hoe. I'm not saying that Portia is, but Dennis has a reputation. And that's just really not a good role model to have on either side. So in everything, I really do feel for PJ and other Black girls who have to contend with that. Yeah. Thank you, Grace, for the love from South Africa. What places do you recommend to go out alone? It all depends really on what you like to do. But just in general, you can go to local festivals in your city. So if you like salsa, especially if you live in a city where there's a large Latin American community, that's pretty much most of the US. But if you don't live in the US, you can just go and do a salsa class, especially now that it's summertime. There's a lot of salsa street festivals in the community. And so you can literally just be out on the street dancing with strangers, and it's just fun. You can go to paint classes, you can go to the gym. I recommend going to maybe getting like a local membership, like with are they called associations? Like a private members club and using their facilities over like just like your local Planet Fitness. You're more likely to attract better quality people, and not just for like dating purposes, but just like quality of friends when you go to more upper echelon spaces. It just is what it is. Um, Restaurants are a great place to go to, food festivals. Try to find, even going to classes, try to find something where you can go back repeatedly, because if you're going back repeatedly to a class, chances are you're going to bump into the same people who are also there for the same reason, and they're going to notice you and be like, "Hey, I noticed that you come every so often to this class. Like, how are you finding it? What attracted you to this?" And that is a conversation starter on your own. I also recommend going to business organizations. So, your local Chamber of Commerce, your local Asian American Business Association, African American business, whatever, and networking with people there. You literally show up by yourself and you just talk to people. Sometimes they'll have icebreaker activities to break the ice and allow you to meet people in the room. If you went to college or university, connect with your alumni association. They put on a lot of alumni events, especially if you went to an Ivy League school, or just a big enough school. They put on a lot of events either for free or like very low cost. Sometimes they'll take you to like Six Flags, depending on the school that you went to. Sometimes they'll have like an event at the local museum and you're talking to people from a school that you went to. And so there you go. Like it's a very quick and easy way to break the ice, and you have something in common to talk about. So it's less awkward. The possibilities really are endless. You can again join Meetup and just go by yourself and meet other people who are attending that event or whatever by themselves as well. And Tiara, I hope that answers your question as well. To the safety point, those options that I mentioned, like you're less likely to be targeted because like everyone is likely there by themselves. Like for example, those business associations, um, or your alumni association, so you're less likely to like bump into weirdos. If you are going to travel alone, I know a lot of women do that. Number one, please be careful of where you go. Do not go to a place like Mexico or the DR by yourself, especially if you don't speak the language. Those places are kind of so when it comes to safety, but if you are a woman by yourself, people will target you and be like, "Oh, are you alone?" Whenever you travel alone, always lie and be like, "Nah, I'm not alone. My friends and family are over there," and just point to a random group and kind of just hover around that group. But yeah, like there are a lot of things going on in your local city that you don't know about. You just need to find um you just need to figure out what they are. There's this one, what do you call that company that creates events, tickets for events? Um, if you know what I'm talking about, please drop it in the comments. It is booked. It's not booked. It's this one company. Help me out, guys. It's this company that if you're putting on an event and you want people to RSVP and get a ticket, even if it's free, they can sign up with that company so you can know who's coming. Um, but anyway, that Eventbrite, yes, thank you. Um, Thank you, Moon Pie. Eventbrite, you can look on their website and see what events are going on in your city, and you can just join. Unless it's a private event, which I highly doubt they would use Eventbrite to advertise it, but you literally just go on Eventbrite and look and see what's going on. It'll show you events in your city, in your country, like popular events, and just like scroll through. Go to some fun events, like maybe a comedy show, um, maybe a lounge night, a nice classy lounge night, um, and mix it up also with like business so that like you're getting the best of both worlds. Uh, Ooh, nice. Yeah. I know that a lot of hiking groups, they like to advertise their events on Meetup, and you'd be surprised the beauty that exists in your city or your area. Especially if you have the benefit of living in a city that's close to like a rural-ish type of place. Like you would be surprised, like, oh wow, I didn't know that this existed here. Like even in New York, there are so many beautiful green spaces outside of Central Park, and like you'd be surprised. Speaking of Housewives, have you seen Salt Lake City? I know you would have a field day. Oh God. I watched Salt Lake City for a bit and I just really could not get into it. Um, but I just think that it's funny that people are getting exposed and like Mary, I feel like she's her own undoing, really and truly. And I feel like Bravo is like they strategically casted her number one for ratings, but to just show how nuttish some people can be, some religious people can be. If you live in Utah or near Salt Lake City, please do not get yourself involved in any cults. It'll literally destroy you. Um, and I like to think of cults as like a form of MLM. They like to present it to you like, oh, everyone is welcome and everyone can succeed and do well in our space. But like, it's literally designed for the top 1% to succeed while they feed the rest of us stories of success that you will never achieve. So steer clear. But also, If you live in that area, there is a lot of money to be made in that area. Literally look at women like Mary and the type of women that she hangs around and see what they do, because they're not all like religious nuts. Some of them have found a way to live a very healthy, prosperous life in business, and just look and see what they do and copy it. If you live in another small town, bring their ideas to your, not like the business name and whatever, but like their business model, tweak it to fit you and your demographic, and boom, like there's a business idea right there. And Ilonga, to the learning disability point, if you're still in school, use any resources that your school board may have or your college or university may have. They do have a lot of free resources for students who have learning disabilities, from dyslexia to autism to whatever, to help you succeed, literally. So, or just do a quick Google search to see like what's out there. People also share tips on Reddit as well as on YouTube of how they've, and TikTok, of how they've navigated life with a learning disability. Um, Again, it's not to you don't have a deficit. It's just finding a way to navigate certain spaces. And once you find that out and you're able to apply it, you will find that you will succeed. And people who are neurodivergent are very, 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 very intelligent and are able to see things that the average quote unquote person cannot see things. So if you can use those resources with your skill set, you are going to succeed. Like Elon Musk, he is neurodivergent and he is a billionaire because he was able to use his skill set to see things differently in the way that the average person couldn't, and it made him billions of dollars. Thank you for the advice on starting a fashion business. I'm in Africa and I've realized African fashion is booming. I'm definitely keeping, yep, yep, African fashion is booming. And I find that a lot of African seamstresses, they're very good at tailoring their styles to curvaceous women. So Black women, women who are curvy. If you can continue to tap into that, you will succeed. There is this one African bridal designer. She uses like a lot of, she doesn't use African prints per se, but she uses the style of like the mermaid fit and flare to like um highlight the Black woman's physique, and people pay thousands of dollars to buy her designs. I'm trying to see if I can find her name on Instagram because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Um, Gosh, I can't remember her name, but if you look up like African, I think she's in ATL. Let me Google it and see what comes up. African bridal designer. Let's see what comes up. Ah, yes. It is Essay Azenabar. I am not doing this name any justice. Please do not laugh at my butchering of her name. I'm going to type it in the chat here. Azenabor. She started off small as well, like just a small local designer. And like now people are flying in from around the world to get her designs. And if you go on her Instagram, you will see, oh, she's in Dallas and New York. You will see like why people are willing to drop thousands of dollars on her designs. And now she's on the runway. Like, I remember when I followed her, she had like a couple thousand followers on Instagram, and now she's thriving. So, Dorothy, I've never heard of Vicky James, but maybe that's someone to also look into as well. Like, there are so many people who have achieved success. Um, just study what they've done and find a way to recreate it to match what you want to do. I'm buying, flipping, and selling under my own real estate business, so I keep full commission, rinse and repeat. Yeah. I know in some states you have to be an agent first for some time and then become a broker to open up your own brokerage. But if you're in real estate, as soon as you're able to do that and you're good at it, do it. Why should someone else get a cut of your money and they did absolutely nothing to help you get ahead? If you've already built up a clientele, no one really gives a damn if you work for one of those big brokerages. They care about you and the relationship that you've developed with them. If you're in real estate, I would also look at, I don't know why I have like, I'm drawing blanks today, but Kiana Watson is a big time, a huge real estate mogul in Atlanta. She does like all sorts of real estate, but she now has like segued into luxury real estate. So I'd recommend that you look at her, listen to her story, and just see what she's done to succeed. But Kiana did not, let me type her name in the chat. She now has her MBA, and like that's considered, I guess, a specialty degree, but she didn't have to do anything crazy to become a real estate agent. Like she started from very humble beginnings and she found a way to make her empire work. So, and there's so many other stories like Kiana Watson. There's Kiara. There's Lauren Wilson in Detroit. She's very popular as well. I haven't seen Lauren online in a while, so I don't know if she still does that. But she also came from very humble beginnings. She went to school, I think, in Atlanta, and she got a job as a paralegal, making like 43K a year. And then she's like, no, I don't want to live my life like this. And rightfully so. And she went back to Detroit and joined her mom's real estate brokerage. And now like she's a millionaire. So it is possible. Yeah, I don't think she practices real estate anymore, but I think you can still see her story online where she shares about her success and when she was doing real estate. She is Mrs. Lauren Wilson on Insta. How do I get into a relationship? I'm turning 21 this year and I've never been in a relationship before. Honestly, you're young, so I wouldn't really like worry about that too much. But at the same time, like just start dating, like go and meet people in person. Um, I would say stay away from the apps, but then I'd also be a hypocrite because I found my person on an app and he's great. So honestly, I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people finding amazing people on Tinder. I did not meet my person on Tinder, but I've heard of people having success on Tinder, Facebook dating. Like it all depends on the methods that you use. If you go on my channel, I speak about how to successfully date online. So you can just look back and see what I have to say about that there. But you can even meet people at your school. If you're in school, this is the perfect opportunity for you to earn your Mrs. degree, meaning go and meet some of the up and coming lawyers, engineers, doctors, and date them and marry them. A lot of women who marry into wealth, they find their partner in school, like he's in pre-med on his way to med school. I'm not talking about some guy that's like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, and he has like no game plan. He doesn't have the grades for it, nothing. I'm talking about he is like actively involved in his student society. He's super smart and intelligent, because even if he doesn't achieve his legal degree, he will never be a starving student, because you can tell that he has the ambition to navigate, and you will benefit from that as well. Yeah, they did. I remember Jen. Thank you for reminding me. Look what happened to Jen. Is she still behind bars? Like, she was just nuts. How do you read social cues as an autistic person, especially when they're being passive aggressive? Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I don't know how to read social cues as an autistic person. I don't have experience with neurodivergence, so I recommend looking on TikTok, YouTube, working with a coach. I think there's like therapists who work specifically with people on the spectrum to help you with that, because there are assholes out there who will be mean to you just because you're neurodivergent and they feel like you can't tell. But in general, whether you're neurodivergent or not, people have very subtle ways of being mean. And for example, like if you're having a conversation and they ask you about something, and they kind of, when you answer, they kind of like chuckle, or like they kind of like smirk or sneer and like roll their eyes, or they look away from you. 9 times out of 10, they're being shady. They're not even trying to be funny. Um, and so if that person is being shady, or they're especially around other groups of girls, and they're being passive aggressive, nice, nasty, um, it's not you being paranoid, it's them being exactly what they're trying to be. And so that's your cue. Stay away from that. You're not less of a person just because you're autistic. And, those girls can just go kick rocks. There are lots of amazing people out there that you can hang around and not have to worry about being judged just because you're different. Amen to your neurodivergent point. I think I gravitate towards your channel because as an autistic person, I'm less inclined to participate in groupthink and common social cues. Exactly. That's one strength that neurodivergent people have, is that you guys literally live life on your own terms, and more people need to have that mentality. Groupthink will keep you broke and lonely and a people pleaser, and the top successful people in the world are not group thinkers. They're not people pleasers. They do not kiss people's asses. They literally live life on their own terms, and they push boundaries, and that's what makes them successful. So hold on to that. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thanks, girl. Honestly, I have lived many years of trial and error. When I say that my 20s was the year of me trying and failing a lot, from that, I gained a lot of good resources. So I figured I would just impart my wisdom and resources on people coming up after me, because I totally get it. I know what it feels like to not. I know what it feels like to like wonder, like, oh, how's dating gonna go for me? Like, what do I do after university? How do I get a job? Like, I've been there, trust me. I'll try Facebook dating. I'm at a medical campus studying to become a doctor. I do want that Mrs. degree, but everyone is taken. So I don't really know what to do, because online dating is a mixed bag. Yeah, online dating, in-person dating is a mixed bag. Like, I've seen good and bad in both situations. I wouldn't just limit myself to your campus, honestly. The good thing about those professional degrees is that they have a lot of conferences for networking. And so I would join my local medical association, and not just like women in medicine either. Like, you can join that and make friends and maybe meet people through your friends and just establish good allies in general. But going to different Medical conferences is a great way. I've heard of people finding their spouse very easily. Um, and maybe not even just in medicine. I've heard of medical doctors marrying lawyers, marrying dentists, like other professionals. Just go out and network, really. Like, it's not even just who knows like what you can achieve from networking. You can get good job prospects, you can find a partner, like just get out of the house. Um, and make sure that you're dating someone on your level or more advanced from you. Do not date some guy that's studying poli sci. Like, I don't mean to rip on the poli sci people. I also took a couple classes in uni in poli sci, but like, do not date some guy who's not going anywhere, okay? He may be the best guy in the world and he's trying his absolute best, but like, you have too much to lose to pair yourself with someone who is not going anywhere. Okay, like you need to be with someone who's either also going to be some sort of professional or like more advanced than you. Like if you're going into family medicine, he needs to be an anesthesiologist. Okay, like you need hypergamous or on your same level. Okay, especially if you have children, like you cannot afford to be dating down. You will regret it. And I know that it's enticing to want to kind of be like, okay, let me like loosen my standards so that I can find someone because everyone else is paired. When it comes to quality of, do not do it. A lot of people will say like, oh, you can find quality men who are not as educated as you, and as a black woman, you can help him get to that level. It's a scam. It's a lie. Take that energy and that time and pour into yourself and find a man who is like leading the charge. Okay. When you focus on yourself and you put that energy into finding an equal or better, you will be happier in life, especially if you end up having children. Yep, you do have to be nice, nasty back to people. Um, because then otherwise people are going to be like, oh, like I can try her and get away with it. And now I can be mean. Now I can bully. No, you can't. You nip things in the bud. And sometimes that just means having boundaries, especially if you're in the workplace. You need to be a little bit more careful because people will be mean to you and you be nice, nasty back, and they'll go to HR and make up a whole story. But having boundaries and not playing the mental games with them is what will help you to win. Like some people, they'll be nice, nasty. And when you stonewall them, so you just be super cordial and professional with them, like you don't act all friendly the way that you would with other colleagues, they think like, oh, okay, let me be nice now. And then you take the bait and you be nice, and they go back to being a passive aggressive bitch. Don't be playing those games with people. When someone shows you one time that they're playing that game, you stonewall them forever. Even if they're at your feet begging, you're now in a position of power where you can use that person to your advantage. And I know it sounds horrible and not great that you have to live your life this way, but people will try to find ways. When people do that, their objective is to manipulate you. And so you need to flip the script and let them know that you cannot be played with. Oh, this is going by so fast. Let me catch up here. What advice would you give to brown, dark skin exoticals like myself? Love your channel, by the way. Thank you, Rosaline, for your support. Let me skip down to your other comment here because it offers more context. I love our melanin, though people try to box us in with unambiguous black women at times, which isn't authentic to our experiences. I honestly show up as myself unapologetically. And so sometimes, and I've spoken about this in other videos, that simply just means enhancing your features so that you look different. Because when you look different, especially as an exotical, it will work in your favor. Because people like beautiful women who look different. And if you don't think that you're beautiful, I would work to change that mentality. But know that beauty is subjective and you never know what people will be attracted to. And the objective is not to get people to be attracted to you for only romantic reasons. It's literally using the law of attraction so that you can get more positive outcomes in life. So, if you are a darker skinned woman with very, very curly hair, wear that curly hair and flaunt it. If you have beautiful glowing skin and a beautiful physique, like you're skinny, but like you have a great physique, flaunt that. Um, but it also comes down to the character. And I'm not saying that every unambiguous Black woman is ghetto, because obviously that's not true. I've met amazing unambiguous Black women who are amazing people. But in general, there is this belief that Black women are ghetto and that we don't know how to carry ourselves. I would tap into that and literally go back to the basics, which is have good manners, carry yourself well, be respectful, and you'd be surprised the doors that will open for you. I've seen interactions where they deal with, and this goes for like non-Black people in general. People in general lack manners and decorum. And I've seen interactions where I'm checking out at a grocery store, for example, and the cashier will just ignore like they'll cash out the customer and like not exchange pleasantries and not be like, yeah, thank you for coming. They just want to get them out the store. And then when they encounter me, they're like, oh, thank you, miss. Give me your bag. Let me bag that for you. Your body language and you being respectful will literally open doors that other resources cannot open for you. And yes, again, to Dorothy's point, play up your features, stay slim and pretty, and don't let them see you sweat. I love that. I love this comment. I should check out your online dating video because in person I dated a SoundCloud artist and it was a hot mess. Listen, we all have hot mess experiences, so don't even feel any type of way. But no more starving artists. And even if he's a successful artist, I would stay away from that too, because those guys are hot, stankin' mess. Like, go for like the nerds, go for like the IT nerds. Okay. Like, they are loyal, they have good values, they are smart, and you don't have to worry about them being an asshole. I've always wanted a specific type of man, like you said, a leading the charge man, but people who I thought were allies told me to relax on my standards. Fortunately, yeah. I would get rid of those girls. Oh, relax on your standards. Like, I would say relax on your standards in terms of like appearance. And I've heard girls say like, oh, he needs to be 6 feet, he needs to have a six pack, and he needs to have like, I don't know, a full head of hair. Like, my man needs to be fine. And for me as a woman, like, sure, you need to have a level of attraction to your partner. And thankfully, I am very attracted to my partner, but I wouldn't focus on how good he looks, because in the relationship, that's your job to be the baddie. Okay. There's only room for one baddie, and that shouldn't be shared with a man. And I find that men who are very, very overly fixated with their appearance will oftentimes be in competition with you and will make it seem as if they're doing you a favor in being with you. So go for a man who has good qualities. Does he have good values? Does he have money? Because, like, men value women for how they look. And even if you had the greatest personality in the world, even if you were Mother Teresa, but you looked like Mother Teresa, no shade, they wouldn't even look your way. Why do you think all the toxic Instagram baddies constantly have men in their DMs? I'm not saying be toxic, because those relationships always end in train wreck, but you as a woman will attract more prospects and you'll have more to choose from if you look good. And it just is what it is. So on the flip side, as a woman, you should look for a man who has money. Can he take care of you and some kids? And yes, have your own money as well too. Like, That doesn't mean that you have to stay at home if you don't want to or depend on a man 100%. You shouldn't. Have your own resources. You're more likely to also attract better quality men when you have more resources, because men who have money, they don't want to be taken advantage of. And so when they see that you are pretty and you also are resourceful, you have your own thing going on, it's like, yeah, okay, I feel safe in entrusting my resources with this woman. But yeah, focus on that. His character, his values. Those are the things that will stand the test of time over whether or not he's 6 feet tall with a big schlong. Like, I've heard women literally stay with literally scum of the earth men just because they are tall. And it's like, okay, your man is tall, but you're still crying. So what's the trade-off here? And that doesn't mean that you need to date like short, like midgets. No offense, but like, if you are 5'5", you don't need a man that's 6 feet tall. You can get away with a man that's the same height as you, 5'7", 8 and up, and he's still taller than you. And it'll still work out, and you'll find that you found someone who's amazing. Don't be so focused on him being overly attractive and focus on the things that he's supposed to be achieving as a man. Is he a leader? Is he enterprising? Or is he looking to you to figure things out? Because if he's looking to you to figure things out, you're going to be stressed out for sure. All right, ladies, it has been a good time hanging out. I'll be going live every month in the membership. So if you want to have more of these hangouts, please sign up for the membership and look out for the live there. Thank you again so much for 10K and growing. Please continue to like and share the content. It really helps with the algorithm. And if you have any topics that you would like to see me discuss here on the main channel or back in the private membership, please drop them in the comments and I will get to those. Please enjoy the rest of your day. It is such a beautiful day. I'm going outside to tan. Have an amazing week and I will see you in the next video. Take care, ladies.